Brrr. Just kidding. Hi there, this is Jim the Keys Bartender. How are you? I'm going to keep on the chain and not talking about... It's a beautiful day. It's sunny. A little lower than people are used to down here. We're not going to talk about the weather. I know people, my father, I called him up and he says people must really be pissed when they get down here. If they're coming from some place that they're expecting some kind of respite from the winter weather, and they come here and it's in the 40s, but that's just the way it is. And they could be coming from places where it's in the teens, so it still could be a welcome thank you. And there's no snow on the ground. So yeah, it's national news down here. While they're showing pictures of the 2 to 3 feet of snow in the Boston, New England area, they also show when the low temperatures come into Florida that certain invasive species or species of animals just don't react well to it. And the iguanas and things like that. So there's pictures of iguanas laying all over the ground, and then they show up, we got iguanas and you have, there's not that many iguanas laying on the road. Because what they do is they climb into trees, and then when it gets really cold when they're sleeping, they lose their grip and they fall out of the trees. So, or I guess if they're walking along and the temperature keeps on dropping and they just go dormant, they just they really slow down. I mean, they stop. They go. They're in like a medically induced coma, and they can't. It's one of the things they can't obey. The body does it. And speaking about bodily functions, rarely do we talk about this on the air, and I know it's kind of crude. It's not a comedy bit, but the body needs to do things that it's just one of those things. The body has needs, and it has to urinate. It needs to get rid of solid waste. It gets rid of gas, either belching or from flatulence, which is farting. But all those things you have to do, especially when you're on a particular, like, depending on what your position is, what you do. I always imagine being in a toll booth. That must have been interesting for some people because they're leaning out and whatever you're doing right there. You're from the waist up. You're just taking money. So there's possibility that you could. I'm not saying that there was a toll booth with a toilet in it, but if there was ever a job that you could put a toilet in, as long as there's not like a trucker coming around who could look down, I guess, you could probably pretty much take care of all your business in a toll booth. I'm not going to try to get any graphic. This isn't part of the show. I don't do potty humor and stuff like that. Not that it's just not one of my things. I don't find it funny. I don't find it, I'm not one on fart jokes and all that stuff, even though it is funny when it happens sometimes. Yes. But a prepared fart joke is they used to say the lowest form of humor is a pun. For the lowest form of humor is a potty joke, farts and all that stuff. But when you're working, when you're at the place I work at least, the bar is at the center of attention right there. Right? It wraps around me. It's a long rectangle. About the center part is about 2.5 feet wide, and then we have, depending on what side you're on, you have the keg cooler, we have the fridge, and we have liquor bottles, and we have it goes for about 20 feet. 20 feet with an end cap. One ends at the kitchen, the other end cap ends at the opposite end of the bar. So it's a long rectangular box. And you fit about 23 people around it. And it's a little over 20 feet. And when you're there, you're in the center of everything. So when it comes to the bathroom stuff, like having to go and urinate or poop, you got to go. It's one of those things. There's no hiding out. There's no, I imagine there are people that peed in sinks and in cups and things like that. It's a big world out there. I'm sure that's happened. That's kind of disgusting. I always felt no matter how busy it is, if you got to go, you got to go. You better go. You're not going to stay there through the event. Wet your pants or soil your pants. While, because there's so many people, you just got to leave it. You got to leave and do it. Now, the gray area for everything is like, let's say I'm going to start out with little nicer things. And the nicer thing would be, let's say you get a coughing or sneezing jag. You ever get those things? I get it when I get something caught in my throat. Or a sneezing thing. I don't know how that happens. That's more of like an allergic reaction, almost something that it's caught in your nostrils and you just start sneezing. And I do 7 to 9 sneezes. And that's one of those things, especially nowadays, that people don't really want to see. But if they're sitting at the bar, nowadays it's not. We don't have people that have like mild opinions of COVID. They're either, if they're afraid of COVID, they're not sitting at the bar. And if they're sitting at the bar, when people start sneezing, they're gone. Same thing with your coughing fit. If you have some coughing fit, they don't know what it's like. You're just coughing. It may not sound that good. So I like, with sneezing and coughing, I like to leave. Not the restaurant, just walk out. Walk someplace outside, just get my business done, wash my hands and stuff like that. I'm not talking about the bathroom trip. Obviously, we settled the bathroom trip. But with the coughing and the sneezing, you could possibly, if you cover up, you could stay behind there. But I don't like the idea of sneezing on stuff. I don't like it when other people do it. Now, when it comes to flatulence, there's the tricky part. Sometimes, unbeknownst to us, we eat things that our digestive system either disagrees with or it makes a decision to produce gas, lots of gas. Now, when you're belching, it's no big deal. You can do the corner of the mouth and it's loud. A lot of times behind the bar, you won't hear anything except the very loudest of items. So the loudest of flatulence that's out there when the band's playing is negligible. You would not hear anything. You really wouldn't. You could just stay there and do that. But how polite is that? How polite? I mean, first of all, at the particular bar I work, the atmosphere is a little more informal. At a more formal place, it would really be kind of inappropriate, I think. Especially with people eating, enjoying cocktails and all that stuff. And all of a sudden you have to have something rear its ugly head or aroma. So you leave it there. But then again, you see people there, they're swilling beer and they're eating oysters, tons of fried food, and you're thinking there's 30 people here or 20, 25 people here packing around this bar. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for it because they've been doing it. They've been doing it the whole time. What's the difference if I leave now to do it every time? Every time I need to. Yep. A lot of times I'll just go, well, the hell with it. Go as far from the group as possible. And if it's someone jumps behind the bar, I'm like, I don't mean to be crude or careless, but it sucks being you then. You just can't, And it's funny when I said the atmosphere, if it's a nice place or something like that, but you're actually changing the atmosphere. You're putting more methane in the atmosphere. You're changing it. You're changing the odor of the atmosphere. You're changing the makeup of the atmosphere when you're there. But what do? And if someone notices it and calls it out, are you one of the ones going, my bad, that was me? Or do you go and do the silent nod? And if there's, let's say, an older person that's unaware near that person, and just go, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's that. And you can just blame someone. The blame is that, you always blame it with someone like that. But if you have a regular and the regular may go, I've been here before, and that person was here when that has to be you. Leave it to the person that's a fucking Sherlock Holmes of farts to sit at the bar and to point that out. I mean, it's really none of their business. They're sitting there. They're not going to leave. They really wouldn't leave. I have yet to see someone leave the bar because of that. The attraction is so great. And this tendency to people that drink a lot and eat fried food, that you wouldn't be surprised that's going on a lot. You really wouldn't. But there are times when you're just sitting there. I've been in interviews. I made presentations. I've sat on juries where I've had a distinct amount of intestinal distress. And you have to get and excuse yourself, and you keep on sublimating it and sublimating. When I say sublimating, you're just stopping. You're holding it in. And you feel as if the alien's going to pump out of your chest because your lower intestines and your stomach is just so full of gas. You can't hold it anymore, but you can't be sure of yourself, so you can't do that there. I'm not trying to gross you out, but it happens. It's part of the body. And you're just sitting there waiting, and you think when would be the best time, and just say, listen, I have to go. I will be back. I mean, there's sometimes you just have to, because otherwise the presentation won't be made properly, right? If you are listening, I mean, jury's the worst because rarely do they ever take a break because the juror needs to use the bathroom. Yeah. They don't go and say, listen, Pastor, I really have to go, or there's going to be an issue here. I mean, that would be an interesting note to get your judge focusing on the jury and go, what the fuck? This person can't sit there for like 3 minutes without telling me he has to, they're about to mess themselves up. Yeah, it happens sometimes. So I'll move on from there because I was in with the wife in the doctor's office today, and I was telling her she was getting her checkup, and I kept her busy. I kept her company while she was waiting around, and I had been in the gym, and I'm doing sit-ups, and the sit-ups, the enemy of sit-ups are farts. Because when you're sitting up, you're collapsing your digestive system. So I'm sitting there, I'm about to start, and as soon as I lean up, I go, I'm not going to do the sound effects. But in there, and there was guys around me. There were guys. They're all either my age or older. And two of the guys closest to me were wearing earbuds. The ones further, I mean, certainly I just went around and I just looked around and I said, sorry. But, that one got away from me. So he's telling Abby, and Abby says, that happens a lot with you. Like it's on purpose. And they said, you do this on purpose. Some people I do not try to do it on purpose. I'm not proud of myself when I do that. If it was a bunch of guys, Even if guys, are disgusting when they get together and stuff like that, it's not necessarily when you get to a certain age that it's something. If that's the thing you're proud of, being able to make a loud noise coming from your sphincter, you're going to have to get a new set of talent up. You're going to have to get a new pool of talent. You're going to have to figure out how to do something. You should maybe take up juggling. People joke, or magic tricks. Magic tricks are boring, and some people are embarrassed by it, but it's a much better than the other thing. Like being able to burp a song out is not very impressive anymore once you get over the age of 14. All right? Just think about it. Change it up. You don't need those. That's not a talent you want to be known for. If you want to know people, if you want to get to know people, you got to sublimate your basic urges, and that's what you're doing. Your basic urge. So when you want to fart, you don't walk in the elevator and fart. You wait until you're getting off the elevator and you do it as you're leaving. No. You hold it in. It's the communal responsibility. You're supposed to suck that in for that elevator ride. And, this, when I was in Poland, we went up on one of those big chair lifts, or what you call it, tram cars that go up to the top of the mountain. And if you're stuck in it, and I'm in Poland, there's a lot of you're eating a lot of cabbage and pierogies and things like that in the summertime. Luckily, I wasn't drinking beer. So beer and cabbage and potatoes, that's got to be a nightmare. And in Poland, they say Americans are worse at this. I don't understand how we can be worse. It's all, everybody's digestive system is pretty much similar. So if you feed the same kind of fuel to the human, they usually produce the same amount of reactions. But you know what? It wasn't that bad on a crowded, there was 40 people in a tram car that looked like they may be able to fit 4 more people in. That was it. And you know what? It didn't stink. But imagine when you're on a date or you're on an interview or something where you really can't do it. Like if you're normally really gassy, maybe it behooves you to let them know, I try to control it, I am sorry. But that may not be the first thing you want to let out. I mean, verbally or non-verbally. You may want to say, hey, listen, I better let this person know that I'm a good person and fun and entertaining before I start releasing the hounds. We're always doing that thing. We're always supplementing the baser qualities that we have. You're on a first date. You don't get up at the dinner when you're having dinner with someone, let's say a beautiful lady, and say, hey, listen, I got to go and take a shit. I'll be back. You get up and say, excuse me, I have to go for a little while. You don't say the detail and stuff like that. You may say, I have to use the restroom, the facilities. That's maybe a little too much information, but they pretty much get it. And we do that because of the social compact we make with people. We don't have to do those things. I imagine hundreds of years ago, people didn't get up to go any place like that. And especially to go to the bathroom, I think, and I've seen it written in the annals of history, that at some of these banquets, they did have people walk around with buckets so people could get sick and people can urinate. I mean, usually done their other business someplace else, but I'm sure they did all that stuff. I'm sure it was disgusting. And then manners came about. People started saying, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe it isn't the best behavior we have when we're around. And then so we started to supplement and hide him. And it became one of the fodders for jokes and things like that. Because before it wouldn't be a joke. It was one of those things. It was just one of those things. Well, we have Abby, as you heard, that I did my gym class today, did all those thing that gets me going. You know, getting up, dropping off my daughter at school, and then working out before I teach my class. It gets me wired and juiced. And I'll tell you, it does get rid of anxiety. Working out is the best thing in the world for that excess energy that I have. And I know maybe tomorrow I have to go and do some cardio and some other things like ab work and things like that. It's important. Working out to me is important in taking care of my clerical financial things. Just as important. It used to be when I was younger, I wanted to look good. Now it's I want to feel good. And part of feeling good is working out so I look like I'm just concerned on how I look. But I mean, that's a byproduct, maybe. But right now, I know as long as I work out, I won't have that built up excess energy. And part of that's doing the podcast too. And today, being my regular day off, we do have big news in the Haran household. We have a nephew, Abby's nephew, Bartek, coming to visit us from Poland. He's from near the place of Abby's birth, where she grew up, near Sanjeshu and Tarnov and Rzeszów. Yeah, if you try to look up the names of these towns, by the way, my pronunciation Tarnov or Rzeszów or Sanjeshu, it would be very hard to find because the way, I mean, Sanjeshu is SDZE something, and Rzeszów is RSZEKOW. Yeah, and Tarnov's the easy one. Tarnov sounds like TARNOFF, but it's actually Tarnow, TARNOW. So you can see how those things, when you call up for your plane tickets and you're speaking to someone who speaks only English and they're selling tickets and say, where are you going? Let me spell them. Oh, just tell me the name. And I tell them the name and say, I can't find it. And I say, okay, I'll tell you. And say, Rezikow. Oh, yeah, no, that's not how. If you say Rezikow to the Polish person, they'll go and say, what? Or so. So we do have Abby's nephew who's in his mid-20s coming here. And he's getting here. I guess the weather is warming up, and he's coming from Poland. It's below zero, and he's coming from, it's a long flight. And the flight was delayed 3 hours. So we're picking him up. We're going to be picking him up at 9 o'clock tonight at Miami International, which I'm kind of thankful for because, I don't mind driving at night in Miami. I'd definitely rather not be driving at rush hour. We would have picked him up right at the end of rush hour. So we're picking him up tonight. We're going to be heading back. We'll get home at 11 o'clock, but at least it will be, it'll be one of those things where there's not a ton of people on the roads. It's nice. You know what I mean? When you're driving down the road, there's not a ton of people, and you don't have to worry about. You still have people flying by you in Miami and things like that, but it's not bumper to bumper flying at you. I used to love that when people come into the restaurant and they go, "Oh, it's not busy. That's good." No, it isn't. It's not good for the restaurant when it's not busy. I know you like it when I say to people all the time, I said, I know you appreciate it when there's not anybody here so you get special. But if that happens a lot, and that happens a lot more, then it'll actually work against you because the place will close down. Who would want, it's like going to a baseball game, and baseball games need to be sold out. Football games, baseball games, in order to have good players and stuff like that. When you have a big stadium and it's not full, and it keeps on not getting full, they may lose their franchise, and you may go in there, oh, it's great, I go there and go and see the Jags play, the Jaguars. I picked the Jaguars because they're kind of a shitty team, football team. And you go there and there's 1/3 to 1/2 the stadium filled, and you go, well, we better, we got to turn this around because it's great when we're leaving and we're parking and getting our seat. There's not a lot of people here, but that's not how professional teams want it to be. They want to be packed. Sell beer, sell hot dogs, sell popcorn, whatever the shit, nachos, sodas. It's just one of those things. You got to sell. You got to sell a lot. We want a restaurant to be busy, and we had a busy weekend this weekend. We did, and it was chilly, and we had a busy Friday night and a busy Saturday night, and met some nice people. I met a new friend from Venezuela, and it's just, well, actually they're from Miami now, but it's nice when it's busy. It's the drawback when it's super busy. I don't get the chance to really talk to everyone. And they say, you look like you're under pressure. And I feel like leaning forward and say, no, because I have a fart. No, I say, well, you know how it is when it's busy. I'm not lighthearted when I'm busy. My body goes into get rid of this crowd mode, meaning make as many drinks as I can, make sure they get their food so they're not waiting. I think some people take it personally when it's busy. And they go, I really want to talk to this person, but it's so busy here. I'm going to have to really... And then they're going to have to really work hard to get their attention. Well, everyone's trying to get my attention at the time. And sometimes I'm remembering the people that I haven't gone and visited for a while because they didn't try to make a point of it. So these other people are... it's funny, when other people are trying to get your attention, it makes you remember that there's people that are quiet and then you haven't checked on them for a while. Like, Jesus, this guy was here for an hour and a half. He didn't order anything yet. I mean, he did have a drink. He has a beer or two and stuff like that. But does he want to eat? Got to be mindful of that. So for the whole month, I'm going to get back to this. Get back to the visitor thing. We cleaned out one of our rooms. That's the best thing in the world. I do my podcast from my office / family room / guest room. Got a nice, I guess, queen bed in there, and a desk. And this is what we're going to be saying. We just kind of remodeled in here too. So, but it's so nice to be able to do the podcast in here. I think the noise level's good. I don't have a lot of the background. Whatever qualities I know the podcast is, best with. So Bartek's going to be staying in here, get here tonight. I have tomorrow. Maybe we'll set it up and do I'll see if he's comfortable. I don't think he'll want to do a podcast with me. Maybe he will. I have him here. Might as well do something. Maybe he can translate. We can do some translation. I did some translation with Carolina and Veronica from Poland. I don't know if Justina is going to come and visit us here in Key Largo. I'm going to try to take but I'm definitely going to see her in Miami. Justina was the flight attendant from LOT, the Polish Airlines, who was a friend of our family, who gave me a tour of Krakow and of Warsaw and Little Krakow. So she's going to be here. I hope I can return the favor to her. But it's nice making, I'm having relatives here and things like that this time of year. It adds some more value to our reasons why we live down here. Because I don't fish, I don't boat, I don't scuba. But I like going on a boat. I like swimming. I'll fish a little. Now I feel kind of conscious, I don't want to put a hook in anything's mouth that I'm not going to eat. I know. What if you have a shark or a crocodile? You're going to eat that? And I say, well, maybe I could. I probably won't, so I don't want to do that. I'd like to thank you for listening. I'd like to thank, who is it? Where are we in Michigan? Someone's downloading a ton of our shows in Michigan. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's really helping the numbers of the show. We're staying on track. I'm still pushing for 1 million downloads in 2022. That will change the whole makeup of the show. So the more downloads we have. I mean, we do have the plays. The plays show up. I don't know how accurate. They only track downloads for me. So it looks like I have like 4,000 listens a month. 4,000 listens. I think I have to get upwards of maybe 45 to 50,000 to reach my average, which I can do. I don't see why not. There's not a there is a magic wand. The magic wand for me would be if Spotify, iHeart, and iTunes started putting me on the recommended listening list. And I do have the numbers of episodes to promote it. So who knows? When that starts changing around, and it's moving in that direction. That I can see probably by the time I come back from Poland this summer that I'm probably going to have to hire a producer. And that'll be nice. If we have a producer, I'll always do a live show and I'll open up the phone lines. And this way Ace doesn't have to get pissed off. He goes, you're fucking... You hear Ace. Ace is his older guy. He goes, hey, pal, every time your blog comes on, my phone blows up and I hear your shit and I want you to say something and I can't call you. Oh, yeah, because I don't have the lines open right now. You can chat if you know how to use that. I know that doesn't. But as Tina would say, I am a... You're an asshole! Yes, I am that. But you can chat if you want to, if you're on speaker. All you have to do is write the message. Here we go. I'm here. I'm leaving. Not for good, though. Let's see. Leaving. Every so often, like, someone will come in and say, into chat, and it's usually someone who's not a listener of the show, and they'll listen to it. He goes, kind of boring. When are you going to start talking about bar stuff? Well, I did talk about bar stuff. I talked about the farting, the crapping, the peeing, stuff like that. That's part of the bar stuff. It is. You just want to hear about, well, how do I make a craft cocktail? What's the proper way of making a mojito? Well, there's plenty of shows like that. Who wants to listen to something on how to make a mojito? I guess someone that knows. I mean, you have to visually watch it. And there's really no great shakes. Once you learn how to do it, that's it. It's a mojito. This is a screwdriver. This is a margarita. I mean, how hard is it? That's what she said. Okay, I'm just drawing a blank. Like I said again, thank you for listening. I hope all my friends in different countries, Taiwan, India, Ukraine, Britain, Germany, Netherlands. Not so much in... I guess I should learn my Spanish. I should learn some more Spanish, right? And then again... But then why would Spanish people listen to the podcast? Who knows? Well, thank you very much. This is Jim the Keys Bartender signing off. Talk to you later. Bye.